Well, yeah. Good morning. Good. It's like was it just like last week Friday we did the Easy Talk, and we're already again. We're back on another Friday, another Easy Talk, but different faces. Yeah. God, dearie me. They say a day's long in footballing terms. Anyhow, it is the Easy Talk nonetheless. And to this side, is it my left, my right, my left. Richard, how are you?
Oh, good, thanks. And yourself?
Yeah, we're good, man. We've just been chomping on the bits, haven't we, about
Yeah,
some stuff that we can't really talk about, can we?
yeah.
Really? Can
No, we're
we?
not. Well,
Can we?
I don't see why we shouldn't.
Yeah,
It's relevant, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we might get to talk about it towards the end of the show. And below us, well, John the Geezer. How are you?
Fridays, 5 o'clock, and it's Crackerjack. Remember that one, Alex?
Run around.
I watched that the other day. He was quite scary, old Mike Reed. Over the days.
Nice one. But anyway, you can see this one's going to be an interesting one. It might get a little bit serious when we get to talk about what we were talking about before we went live. But listen, guys, you don't have to subscribe. What I would like you to do, just click the like button. That's all you have to do. And come into the live chat, let us know your thoughts about what we're going to be talking about. Maybe we might talk about that serious stuff towards the end. But anyhow, so fellas, there was a game last night, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Sporting versus the Arsenal. Richard.
Yes.
Richard. What was your prediction anyway, Richard?
I I went with a win for us because
You did
our
not.
yeah, because we've been pretty good with the clean sheets away from home. I expected it to be difficult, but I thought a 2-0 win.
And for
Just
you, John?
because we've
I
been
said
better.
2
We've
0,
been
Alex. I thought we'd beat them pretty easy, to be honest with you. But that was me being a bit too blasé. They're not a bad team, were they, older Sporting, to be fair?
oh
But
no,
was it?
Sorry?
Go on, Richard. Go on.
yeah, they are a Champions League side. They've dropped out of the Champions League, but that's the pedigree that you're going against. So
But my problem or the situation that I'm not happy with, Richard. You look at the starting 11. Right, here's the starting 11 that we started with. So, Tina Turner, Benny Blanco, William Saliba, Jacob Kior. We'll probably get to him in a second. Zinchenko, Vieira who? Fabio, Jorginho, the X-Man, Bukayo Saka, who needs a break, GM, and Reece Nelson. Now I'm thinking, Richard, why
yeah,
did he not go with a strong 11? Why? I mean, he
rest
brought on
right.
Thomas Partey, and then he brought on Magalhães. Why did he not start with them, Richard?
because you've got a squad to manage your lesser games. You need to rest. You're playing from now till nearly May. You're playing every 3 days, so you've got to rest some players. You if I mean if Tierney had been fit, I doubt you'd have you wouldn't have seen Zinchenko. So, and to me, I mean, other than maybe Kivior there, who's who hasn't had a game for us yet, you both players need minutes. So if we have to use them in the Premier League, they're ready and available to come in. And I wasn't dishappy with it. As I said, Kivior was a surprise, and Ben White starting over Tomiyasu was a bit of a surprise. But other than that, that was pretty much the starting 11. I could have seen ESR in for Saka and Vieira out on the right, but given the fact that he played 70 minutes on the Saturday and he's only just come back from injury, it wasn't a surprise not to see him start in the match.
But so what are you telling me? Are you telling me literally he was just trying to keep the players match fit, or was it
Yeah,
panic substitution?
you've got to keep these fringe players be fit, so that if we have an injury to one of them, say Partey goes down again, Jorginho has to have minutes under his belt to be ready to play in the Premier League. Same as Reece Nelson. When we've just lost Trossard, we haven't got Nketiah and Martinelli, so he needs to be out on. Who else have we got to go left? We haven't. So, and he's our most senior player who's had experience at this level. So he has to be fit and ready to get game time.
But not Kiowa. Not Kiowa, because you saw what happened there. The guy hasn't played a first team game for us. He played the under-23s, and Matt Turner hasn't played since January. And what do you get? Two players coming together, and I'm not sure.
I think Matt Turner called for that ball, didn't he?
But he didn't come and get it. You didn't get it.
No, but I'm not so sure that Kivior ducks out of the way if he didn't get a shout. Now, maybe it wasn't Turner that shouted. Maybe it was the opposing player coming in that shouted, and Kivior, not used to playing as duck, thinking it was the keeper that shouted, and that's where the mix-up came. But why isn't Turner coming for that ball? It was an easy ball to come and punch or collect at that point. Maybe it's lack of match practice, game time, and it's something that they're going to have to work on.
Johnny Geezer, 2-2, man.
Yeah, I was, I was happy with the draw, Alex. I ain't gonna lie, I was quite happy too. I didn't realise, that the away goals don't count anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe I was over happy. I was thinking, away goals. I got told this morning, no, there ain't no away goals. But like Richard, I kind of agree with most of what he says. I think some of them players have come fresh into a game. They're playing a Champions League team. I presume they won their league, Sporting Lisbon. They beat Spurs 2-0 earlier in the season. They ain't a mugs. They're a quality side. I think we sort of keep expecting Arsenal to win every game. They can't do it. Do you know what I mean? I thought it was good. Arteta said before he's going to keep rotating the front three and players. He's got to, because we've got some big games ahead. I thought he might have played a weaker team, to be quite honest with you. I thought he would have played some more of the youngsters, but I think old Dewberry, Crozier would have probably got a game, but he got injured in the under-21s, didn't he? So he didn't get the ball up. He wasn't even on that subs bench. And looking at that bench now, is that how many subs you get in the Europa League now?
I still think it's 5.
Yeah, it's still 5.
Oh, it's 5. Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot of players you put up there, Alex. I'm like, right, I don't know.
To be honest, you'd only be substituting Partey, Gabriel, Smith Rowe, Holding, and Tommy Esso. You're not taking any of the under 21s there, and you're not putting Ramsdale on.
No, I thought that was a bit too much.
But the only other one I'd have put on would have been Holding, but.
You've got you've got a newish team there, just bonding together, so they don't know each other that well in a first flight game. They've gone in against Sporting, which are a really good team, and to be fair, Arsenal done all right. They went 1-0 up, didn't they? What was it? 1-0, 1-0, 2-1. I thought they was playing all right. Lisbon had a few good chances. They could have gone up. They could have buried us if they took their chances. They could have buried us. I will say that. And the defence did look a bit shaky where it's new. That Jacob, I think he's going to be a great player. I thought Vieira had a good game. I
thought he had a good game as well.
It was one of his best games. He seemed really confident. People getting on his back, but he seemed all right. I was surprised about Saka. I thought he might get half a game in the second half or something.
But I saw him literally limping.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're overusing him now, Alex. Why are they overusing Saka? they can change him. Do you know what I mean? They can.
Well, you've got to remember he had 40+ games last season, didn't he?
That's what I mean.
So,
the World Cup, he took a while to get into his stride this season, I think, because they're just kind of overusing him. You don't want him to get burnt out.
But John, with the substitutions, are you happy with the substitutions? Would you not prefer to have seen a Thomas Partey starting, a Gabby Magalhaes starting, rather than putting him on?
I would have, Alex, but I think he probably wants to save him for that Fulham game, because that's a big game. He probably put out that team thinking they will beat Sporting Lisbon or get a draw. Do you know what I mean? I'd always play Partey, but I think, me personally, I think the Premier League is more important than Europa at the moment, because you win the Europa, all right, you get in the Champions League. We're already guaranteed Champions League at the moment, and it is great.
Are we?
Well, top 4. We ain't gonna
win the next 3 games,
yeah, we ain't yet, but we ain't
win the next 3 games. I mean,
I can feel it in the air, John.
I can feel it in the air. Come on, we can't do what we did last season. That ain't that. But, irrespective of that, to me, that Europa, I'm not even a lover of that Europa, to be quite honest. It'd be lovely to win it, but it ain't till you get to the quarterfinals that you get the sort of quality teams coming in. Some of the teams,
and it's the travelling, isn't it? It's the travelling. I mean, they didn't come back till today, and that look at the time they've got to prepare. So it's no wonder.
That's it. Less than 3 days to get it sorted. That won't be the team that plays against Fulham. He put out his starting.
Strongest available team, isn't it?
My main aim for that game, personally, was not lose and don't get injured. Don't get any. You know, Alex, I know you're a bit of a Fulham fan. They ain't the mugs. They're one of the top teams at the moment. They're a team to be feared. So we need to be on our game 100%. So, and there were some nasty tackles coming in from that Sporting Lisbon.
I spoke about it today. Yeah, the tackles were a little bit. Yeah,
they were high. High in the. To me, they were borderline reds. A lot of them. They was proper, deliberate. And poor old Zaka, he gets it every week, and that's got to tell on him. You know what I mean? Every week he's not getting any protection. I can see the same thing happening. I don't think Fulham are that bad, but every week he gets taken out of the game and nothing's said.
John, he shouldn't have played yesterday.
No, I agree. I wouldn't have played him, Alex. I would have rested him. All them players on that bench there was no reason to play him. Personally, I was quite surprised. I'd say I thought it'd be a lot weaker team than what they put out, but he's got his reasons, isn't he?
So John, do you reckon Arteta is not really going hard and fast in the Europa League? Is he putting away his pennies in the Premier League? You reckon?
No, I reckon he's going to both. I do reckon he's going to both, but we've seen with Arteta's teams before. He's got caught out where he's put out weakened teams in the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and we've gone straight out. And the fans don't like to see that, do they? So he's in 2 competitions, and we've got a good chance in both competitions. So as a manager and a professional, it's his job to put out the strongest team he can, really. I'd argue that ain't the strongest team we've got, but he's got to use his noddle and rest players, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He can't play that same team week in, week out. Because
what I think is he probably won't start playing the first 11 in that until either the second leg of the quarter-finals or the semi-finals, depending on who we draw. And then, and when there's a real chance of actually getting to that final and winning it, then you'll see the first 11. But until that point, it'll rotate to keep players fresh.
It's like Turner. He was a bit shaky, but he ain't played, like you say, January, is he? You can't just come into them games fresh and expect to be on it all the time. It's hard. You got to give 100% concentration against.
So John, would you play Ramsdale in the return leg?
Would I play? No, I wouldn't. If he's stuck with Turner in that game, stick him with a second. He's more than capable. He held his own. He's done some good saves. It's just I say where he's in a new team. It's like any of us, go and play in a new team. It just takes a bit of time. You can't. It's all right if you're playing maybe a championship side. Do you know what I mean? But you're playing against one of the top teams in Europe. They are probably in the top 20 teams in Europe. That
yeah.
So they ain't mugs, are they? So but that youngster that come on for them, I think he's an 18-year-old. He looked really good. Really good. And I think he changed the game for them. Do you know what I mean? When he came on, they could have beat us at the end. So I'm quite happy with a draw, to be honest.
So are you guys confident? Second leg, get the job done.
I think at the Emirates we'll have too much for them, and we should by that time have, and depending on because we've not heard how bad Nketiah is, but we should have Nketiah in, and we even maybe Trossard back, and that should be that. Those changes should be enough to put us through. And look again. I mean, Martinelli was very unlucky that you've got a lightning quick right back that took the ball off his toes when he rounded the keeper. I mean, that was a bit
recovery speed on that. Oh my god!
Because that would have won us. That would have put us in an even better position than we are now.
But actually. Sorry, go on, Richard. Go on.
The only thing I was going to say is the only thing when you're going away at home is not to lose it. You want to win it, but if you can't win it, don't lose it.
Absolutely. So going on from that, actually, Richard, we know Eddie Nketiah is out with an ankle injury. Martinelli in. Jesus, no chance. Does he have an outside chance of playing against Fulham?
No, he's not going to play against Fulham. He's only just started full contact training. I would be looking at maybe getting an under 21 game and maybe 10 minutes against Palace, and then up behind a closed door friendly, and then be then 50-60 minutes against Leeds, and be fully ready for the Liverpool game.
But your thoughts very quickly about how Martinelli played last night in that role there. I thought he played all right.
He struggled. He struggled for the first 20 minutes, but once he figured it out and he got into the flow of the game, he did what you want him to do. Yeah. But he's not really played up there before. So a game and a half he's played up there. He did okay. He can only improve.
Yeah. And for you, John, Martinelli in that role.
I thought that was one of his best games, Alex. To be quite honest, I've always said put him up front. I was saying it all last season. Give him a go, and it suits him. I think he can play either side, but I think, like what Richard said, the more you play him there, the better he will get.
Yeah.
And I was impressed.
Should have scored a goal. Should have scored one.
He should have, but come on. Like I say, he's playing against a quality team. They ain't mugs. They've got top quality defenders,
That's no excuse, John.
Well, we've seen players like Ireland miss sitters from 5 yards out.
Yeah.
Next week, he'll go and get 4 goals. Sometimes that's how it goes.
Let's go into the live chat before we continue on the next segment. We've got Richard, your mate Colin is in the live chat. He says, hello, Alex. People are waiting. We're having a good debate before we went live. We might end up talking about what we were talking about. You never know. Anyway, Alex and the panel are on Bournemouth time. What's
Was it 6, mate? 6.
Be careful, because Mr. certain Marinellos, they live in Bournemouth, don't they, John?
Yeah, the Marinellos. That's what I call them now. The Marinellos.
Yeah, goodness, it's time. Alex and a very small, crazy gang. Well, yeah. Ange is in the house. It's my boys. Evening, Ashley, you miss my singing. Oh, I saw your singing, Ange.
It was quality.
Yeah. You just need some backing singers, maybe.
Yeah, X Factor. Terry, he's the one for that, isn't it? In the piano.
Don't ask me to sing. Anyway, yeah, if that's the case, Richard, then my last 2 transfer window ratings of 4.5 summer, 22 and 3.5 for the January, 23 must be spot on since our squad doesn't have enough.
Well, let's be fair. Trossard would have been playing last night if he hadn't got injured. So, and you're probably and then Ketia would have probably been starting up front as well. So so it's not very often you get 3 injuries to your 3 front number 9s injured, and you also had Odegaard out with illness last minute, and you got Tierney didn't travel because of illness. That's 5 players you're without. First team players you're without. That hurts any squad. And yet we still need another 4 or 5 to be able to compete in a better quality players to compete next year in the Champions League. But we're better off than we were last year when we capitulated at the end of the season, and our aim is to try and get a double, isn't it? So if you've got to manage parties fitness and get those injured players back for that running, so that you can do that, play every 3 days, and be close to a title, and get to the Europa League final and maybe win that as well. I'll take last night if that happens. If he can get, we need to get those players back, and if we do, I mean, I said 89 points should be enough for us to win the title. I still don't think City are going to go and win the next 12 games. I think they're still going to drop points somewhere along the line.
But do you not think we'll drop points as well, Richard?
Well, the max points City can get now is 94. So I'm saying they're going to lose at least 2 games. And we that gives us a 10-point buffer. So we could lose another 3. And we'd be about 89, 90 points. And that for me is what's roughly where it is where it's going to be won. Right. And I don't see us losing more than 2 more and maybe drawing 2. And that's, to be honest, and that's based on our form across the whole season.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to hold fast because I've always said this has to be on a game-by-game basis. I don't.
Oh yeah, we got to go game by game.
The future, how many points? I say, you know what? Let's concentrate on the next game, not the game after that. But anyway. We've got Connor who's come back and said some additional comments. Not the time for a debut. Arteta has to realize that technical team will expose Zinchenko's defensive inequities. And Fabio is knocked off the ball too much. Ramsdale should have started. Turner is number 2. John.
Well, what part of that do you want me to
All of it.
Well, all right, then let's go Turner, I disagree with you there, Colin. Give Turner a game. That's what he's there for. Number 2, why not play him in the Europa? Yeah, it probably ain't the best game to put him straight into, but he's a professional footballer. He's been paid to do a job. Get in there, do it. He got away with quite a few things there yesterday, but he did make some good saves as well. So, he's not getting regular games as a keeper. That's what you need, and a keeper, you're always highlighted 10 times worse than a striker. If a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it's all over the papers and everything. Turner's all right. He'll be all right there. So I disagree with that one, Colin. Ramsdale does need a bit of a rest.
Yeah, and we did say actually about Vieira. You thought he had a good. I thought he had a good game yesterday.
I thought Vieira done probably his best in my opinion. He is.
He got knocked off the ball sometimes, but he did get back, and he won it back a few times as well. So
he's a good player on the ball. He's a good passer, good crosser. Yeah, he ain't got the physical side thing, but
I think his biggest problem yesterday was his finishing. I think his finishing let him down yesterday because he had a couple very good chances. He should have got on target and he didn't. But
yeah, exactly. But they roughed Arsenal up. Arsenal have got a few. I keep saying this. Arsenal need a Terminator in there. Do you know what I mean? To protect these players, like we don't seem to have. I know Xhaka is that kind of player, but he ain't that kind of player. He looks like himself. The other player, we need someone there to back the likes of Vieira up, like Xhaka up. You know what I mean? Say, oi, you're picking on my boy. Next time you do that, mate, you're on the floor. You know, I know
and sent off.
In a diplomatic way, not a Xhaka way of doing it. Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah. You've got to be a bit more savvy. But so I thought he was all right, Percy.
I thought he played all right.
Yeah, I can't knock him.
As for Kieval, I think he would have been better off with a Tomiyasu or Tierney alongside him because of the fact that Zinchenko goes inside, and that leaves that whole of that left flank for Kieval. And on your debut, maybe that's a little bit much to do. But other than the mistake for the first misunderstanding for the first goal, he grew into that game and got confidence and did okay. He wasn't spectacular, but he wasn't poor. But when do you give him a game time? We've got no League Cup.
Not in the Europa League. Not in the Europa League, Richard. Not in the Europa League. Why not play a Rob Holding? Play a Rob Holding. Experience.
Because Rob Holding and him don't work. Wouldn't work. Rob Holding's too slow and ponderous. Saliba, Kivior is more like Gabriel, and so having Saliba alongside him, you could have possibly put Gabriel and move Gabriel to the right, or even move Ben White into somebody who would talk to him and help him through the game. But this is probably the lesser competition out of the four we were in, because most of the teams in the Europa League are lesser quality than the Premier League teams we're going to face. So you don't want him in the Premier League. He's not ready for it. But the Europa League is a chance to give him a game time, get him used to it, and then when we need him next season, when you're playing Champions League, and then you're going to need him up to speed.
Yeah. I'm going to agree to disagree with you, Richard. I just don't think we should have been playing at a core. I'd far rather have, again, our usual CBs.
I'm not saying he should play in the final. I'm not saying he should play in the semi-finals or finals, but at last 16, where you should be getting through to the next stage, then yeah. You don't put him in. You don't put him in the semi-final or a final. You play your best defenders in that. But up to that point, give him that chance.
Yeah. Anyway, John, I don't think you respond to the other part that Colin was talking about. Zinchenko, his defensive.
Yeah,
he can't defend.
I think that's just Zinchenko's kind of game. You know what I mean? He's gonna always leave a bit back. He looks like a sort of fella that don't really listen to the orders that much. He does what he wants to do, you know. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. And when it don't work, he comes unstuck, doesn't he? But when it does work, you know, he's an hero. But
yeah,
I don't think you can take that out of his game. You know, you put Tommy there.
You've got to remember, he's not a defender anyway. He's a natural midfielder.
Yeah, that's true, and he's being used as a defender.
And so I'll tell you what, Emmanuel Petit was a left back before we signed him, and Wenger brought him in and put him next to Vieira. So a ball playing left back in midfield. What's Zinchenko doing? He's a left back. He's a ball playing midfielder that tracks back and defends as a left back. So really, all we've done is we've done it in the opposite direction. We've taken a midfielder and put him as a left back, whereas Wenger put a ball playing left back into midfield to have a bit of control and stability in midfield, which is what he does. Yes, you're losing a bit defensively, but if you notice, when we played Tottenham and when we played Liverpool, he put our best one-on-one defender in Tomiyasu in left back. He took Zinchenko out of the game because he knew that would be a weakness.
And also because he was a yellow card as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, but but Tomiyasu is also our best one-on-one defender that we've got. Not how many players get past him and get the better of him when he's on his best form. Not many. So he does change it for games. But when we want to control games, he uses Zinchenko to control the game. Because what he does do is he defends higher up the pitch. Was it one of the goals where Partey got the ball back and I can't remember who, I think it was Saka that he passed it to and scored in the Tottenham game. It was Zinchenko chasing back that made the player run into Partey. So he stops it before it gets to the defensive sometimes. But when it doesn't, then but we've known that from pre-season. The teams were trying to hit either flank to catch us out because that's where the space was. But we defended that reasonably well. Just recently, at home, that's where our biggest problem is. When we're at home, we're a bit more gung-ho. When we're away, we seem to attack with a little bit more caution. We keep the ball, we pass it around, and we also respect that we've got to defend. Whereas at home, it just seems to be all out attack.
I don't have the stats for the game last night, Richard, but we appear to have lost possession so many times. And I'm thinking, was it down to, again, the players not playing together enough? Your Fabio Vieiras, your Kiowas, or was it the fact that Sporting Lisbon were so good at putting pressure on the ball that we lost possession?
Maybe a bit of both, but I think a lot of it is how often is that 11 played as an 11? Not very often, has it? And you need that cohesion, you need that fluidity and that understanding with each other. So if you look at in one, I think it was the Tottenham game again, where Zinchenko plays the ball over to Martin blindly to Martinelli on the left on the touchline. He knows he's there, but you can't do that if you've got somebody on the you've never played with before. You can't play those passes blind because they're not going to be where you're expecting them to be. And a lot of Arteta's thing is this is where you're going to be at a certain time. So your teammate can say, right, I don't have to look. I know where he should be. That ball's going to be that's where I'm going to play the ball, and he will pick it up. And when you're playing your first 11, that's what happens. But when you're not playing your first 11 and you've got somebody who's come in, it's going to go wrong sometimes. And yeah, I mean, we'd all have loved to win that more comfortably and not conceded and could be going into the second leg a little bit more comfortable. But we are Arsenal, and at home, even though these are a decent side, we should be putting them away because they've lost their two best defenders. They're out of the second leg. And if we're not putting them away at home, then there's seriously something wrong with what we've got available to us.
Well, we've got to beat them. It's as simple as that if they want to go through the next round.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Arteta has said he wants to win every competition he plays in. And if he thinks that team's good enough, you've got to believe that team's good enough.
But Richard, he's also said that the players have got to be prepared to play 70+ games a season. That's what he said last year. You can't, with a squad size that we have now, you can't expect players to be playing 70+ games. And like I said before, the first 5 minutes, Arsenal because Saka limping off the pitch. He needs a break. 70+ games a season.
No. We've got 3 players.
Yeah,
we got 3 players. We got 3 players who last season played 40 odd games. That is Granit Xhaka, Bukayo Saka, and Gabriel. And then Martinelli was the next highest. We need, and so those are the 4 players he's going to rely on pretty much. And you noticed in the group stages, he would play Martinelli one week and have on the bench, and then against I think it was PSV Eindhoven, he would drop Martinelli to the bench and have Saka starting to give him rest. But we haven't got in that right wing a quality player to replace Saka, have we? Reece Nelson isn't a right winger. When we put him out on that right hand side, his performances haven't been that good. You put him on the left side, Reece Nelson is a different player.
But Richard, sorry. I mean, how many seasons has Saka been playing for us in the first team?
Yeah, but
so we've known that situation has been there on the right hand side, Richard. We've known there's been an issue there, and yet we're still not going to the market. We haven't brought someone who can compete with him on that position there. Arteta's been with us for 3 seasons.
You can only sort out. So you can't. We're not a Chelsea that can go and buy for this position.
Oh, we don't need to be. We don't need to be, Richard. Where are we? We're on top of the league, and we haven't spent nearly as much as Man United or Liverpool. We haven't spent as much as that, but we're on the top of the Premier League.
There was 396 before this winter window, wasn't it? So what did we spend? 12 million on 20 million on Trossard, 12 million on Jorginho, and I don't know what we spent on Kivior. So we spent just over 400 million in Arteta's 3.5 years.
Sorry, lads. Players like Xhaka, they're irreplaceable. You ain't gonna get
When Arteta come in, we needed to get our defence up, didn't we?
Richard, let John talk. Go on, John.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah, sorry. Go on, John.
Richard, no worries. What I was saying, players like Saka are irreplaceable. You ain't gonna get someone that's gonna replace that guy. You've got to get someone as near as, I think. These guys come along once in a lifetime. So Arteta's got to kind of adjust the team to fit around that, because asking him to play every game, that's too much.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. And I'd hate him to get injured right at the end. That'd be a sickener. Do you know what I mean? That would, for him and every fan, that would be a gutter. So we've got to rely. Arteta knows what he's doing, but I would beg him just to give him a break once in a while. Do you know what I mean? Because we can play without him. Just got to adjust.
We can.
We've got a very versatile team at the moment. They can all play out of position when they have to. They've been playing football for years. They ain't going to be as good as Zaka. But sometimes you just got to adjust. We're lucky at the moment. When we look back, we had an awful lot of injuries, didn't we? Just after Christmas. And then we come a crocker. 3 games on the row, we didn't win. We've just got back now. We've got a good squad. Unfortunately, Trossard's injured and a couple of the others. But we got Smith Rowe back in it. Jesus will be back soon. So we've got enough room to mix and match, if you like. Do you know what I mean? So he shouldn't be putting these players at risk, in my view. But I ain't Arteta. He knows more than me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you also got to realise that when he came in, we probably needed 11 or 12 players out of that team and replaced. And what he's done it section by section. We might not like that. Yeah, I'd have loved him to go out and replace everyone in the squad and got 7 or 8 players in the first season, and then another 7 and 8 last season, and then for another 6 or 7 this season. But the club run, and this is where we need to be on the concave, saying if you're serious about winning things and you're serious about changing over a new leaf, you need to make sure that X, Y, and Z. And then if your sporting director's not producing the goods or your manager's not producing the goods, then you do something about it. But he's improved our back line. He's improved our midfield. We still need improvements in there. And our attack's not bad. We still need maybe another addition in there. Maybe 2 additions in there. We're probably going to need another left back. We'll 2 centre midfields. And if I suppose you could put Tommy Esu over onto the left and get another right back in if you're going to do that, if you're selling Tierney, and then you're going to want an improvement on Holding to cover Saliba. So next season you're wanting 6 significant upgrades that are of Champions League qualities. You do that to this squad, you're going to be able to compete in different competitions a lot better than you are now. Yeah, if you say you go Milo Savic and Declan Rice added to that midfield, you then had somebody say Jonathan David from and you have Balogun back. That's it with Jesus, Trossard, Martinelli, and that's a decent and Saka. That's a decent front line. You've got Fabio Vieira, Smith Rowe, Nelson, Xhaka, Jorginho, and Partey on top of Savic and Rice for for your midfield. That's a decent midfield. You can put players into a Champions League and swap out for a Premier League game the following weekend. So we're not there yet. We're not at Man City's where they can play two different 11s and not have the performance or result affected. But we're getting there, and I'm like, I know where Connor's coming from. As a fan, you want it to be immediate, but we haven't got that ownership. We haven't got a Roman Abramovich or a Sheikh that was going to splash the cash. The only thing time they've put their money on the line is for the party deal, and they guaranteed that money. Everything else, all they've done is reconsolidate the loans of the club, and they've jiggled to make extra available. But it's money that it's not their money. It was the club's money the club owed that they were able to jiggle about and give us a bit more to play with. And if we get into the Champions League next season,
right,
we should have even more money.
Let me just read this last comment and then we'll get back on track with our topics. So Colin says, actually, by the way, I was just checking to see how much Arsenal reportedly bought Jacob Kiowa for, and it was 25 million euros. So that equates to roughly maybe 20 million pounds, there or thereabouts. So Colin says, save, bubble wrap, rotate. We are not ready for the premium Europa competition with this squad. Say it. Excuses are not for Arsenal Football Club, John. No excuses, John.
No excuses, mate. I don't think there's excuses to be had. I think we've got a squad that can win the Premiership and the Europa Cup. You know, there's no need. You know, we can't go and buy players now. That's it. It's done and dusted. Arteta's got a squad. He's got enough to rotate players with, and he's got enough in the locker now to do a double. I reckon that's possible. Whether they can do it is another thing. Do you know what I mean? Me personally, I've always said the Premiership is a priority. The Europa is a bonus. So go for both, but don't kill yourself going for the Europa. You know. you know, me personally, other fans probably want it all. I'm not bothered. The Premier League, I'm up for that. Yeah. The Europa, it's a bonus if we win it. So that's my opinion on it. And it's good that I think Arteta is in a lovely position now. Players can't just say, yeah, that's my position, I'm there. Oh, yeah, I'm in that position, I'm there. They've got people breathing down their necks, you know what I mean? That they may not be as good as them, but they're breathing down their necks, putting pressure on them to say, that spot, you ain't guaranteed. And going back to Jesus now, people are talking about him walking straight in the squad. Why should he? Why? This is a winning team. Why should someone just be dropped and put him straight in? I don't see that. As good as the player he is, he ain't played for a long while. This is a winning team at the moment. And I don't think he should walk straight into that. That's my opinion, Alex. You know what I mean? The team they got now, I'd be upset if I was a player and was dropped and Jesus has put straight in there. I don't think it's going to work like that. I think he'd sit on the bench before he comes in and rotate him. He won't walk straight in that first team. Well, I wouldn't if I was a manager.
Well, I think it's probably been a little bit made easier for him because Eddie Nketiah, as we know, is out injured anyway. So, but yeah,
well,
I agree.
It's been made a bit easier for him unless Martinelli grabs this spot. You know what I mean?
That's the point, actually. That's the point. Yeah. Sorry, John. Do you want to say anything else before we continue?
No, let's go, mate. Go on.
Right. Okay. So, we're back in Premier League action on Sunday against my second favorite club. Actually, my first and second. Yeah, Fulham. Anyway, I brought some stats. The last, I think, 5 or 6 meetings. Sorry, let me remove this out of the way. Where are we? Sorry, guys. There we go. Right. Yeah. So the last 6 meetings. To order for the Cottagers. tall order. I mean, it's looking like it's going to be a win for the Arsenal faithful. What say you, Richard?
Well, they've lost Paulinho in midfield. They're going to have Mitrovic back. It's a tough away game. Fulham have done really well this season at home. They were unlucky not to beat Liverpool earlier in the season at home, and they've had some really good results this season at home. But I still see a win for us. I had us down for a 2-1 win at Fulham.
Yeah, John, for you,
it's going to be a very tough game, Alex. Off the back of this Champions League, we've never recovered that well in these European games. Thursday football has always really snuffed us on the Saturday or Sunday. Next time we play, we're never that great. I think 1-0 to the Arsenal and an Eddie brace.
Well, an ankle brace.
Yeah, an ankle brace. No, I think we nick a 1-0, hopefully. Do you know what I mean? But it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not mugs. They're going for Europe, aren't they? They're going for Europa spot. They've exceeded themselves. They've got a good manager, good starting 11.
They're actually still in the contention for a Champions League as our
They
are. So that, in their mindset, they must be going for that. Why wouldn't they? Do you know what I mean? But
there's 6 teams up in that for that position, isn't there? You've got Liverpool, you've got Newcastle, Tottenham, Brighton, Brentford, and Fulham, all chasing that last spot.
Yeah, there's some good teams up there. Some surprising teams. They hold their own, and it's nice to see teams like Fulham, Brighton, and Brentford up there. Do you know what I mean? It mixing it all up. But I still think we should have enough in the locker to beat Fulham if we're serious title contenders. The main thing is don't lose. You know what I mean? But prepare yourself for a very tough game. That's what I reckon.
What's the kickoff time? Is it
2 o'clock Sunday?
2 o'clock. Right. Okay. All right. I'll be watching that one.
Peter's old team as well, Alex.
I know. Yeah.
A couple of years, I believe. Bestie did as well, didn't they? Bestie was with them, and I can't think of the other guy's name.
Moore. Bobby Moore as well. Bobby Moore.
Yeah, Bobby Moore, the guy that used to be on Sky.
What's his name? Alan Mullery as well played for the Fulham as well at the same time. I think.
Yeah, Mullery. Yeah, they've always been a great little team, haven't they? Proper well.
Yeah, let's go back in the live chat just for the last one before we wrap up this latest segment of the Easy Talk. We've got Tony who says, "Evening Gunners."
Evening, Tony.
And I think Connor's just dominating the live chat. He says, next year, if we play like that against Bayern Munich, we will be spanked off the pitch, Richard.
Yeah, I agree. If you put that team out against Bayern, you're getting spanked. You're getting spanked. But we're going to have, hopefully, this time next year, five Champions League quality players in the door so that we can compete against the likes of Bayern. But look who's in the Europa League this year. You've got Juventus, you've got Inter Milan, you've got Shakhtar Donetsk, Barcelona. All Champions League teams have been locked out of the Champions League into this. So the Champions League isn't as easy as it was.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. But
or them teams ain't as good as, or them teams that have dropped into it ain't as good as what they used to be. Do you know what I mean?
No, maybe not. But they're still.
I will fear them personally. Teams like Barca, they're living off their names.
I mean, we do need that. Yeah, I mean, it's all about what we do in the summer. Get those get those quality players in, get them in early, bed them in like we did last summer, before, so that they've got a whole pre-season, so that we can hit the ground running again. And then if we need to go into the market in the winter, we dip into the market in the winter again, if we need to.
All right.
We've got to take every opportunity that comes our way.
Colin says the transfer windows have to be better and will be more expensive if we plan on competing where our club belongs. So I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, well, we'll see. Emerson, good evening, says, well said, John. I agree on your point 100%.
Cheers, Emerson.
Good enough, man. We must be losing our minds. Colin's going off on one. Dear. Sport is not a mug. We have got to expect more. You guys have followed this club throughout our proudest times.
Okay. Exactly, Colin. So we know what we're talking about, you know. Keep the faith, Colin.
Fabio is still diving in the box. Man hasn't landed yet. Oh, God. And says, whatever the second leg, Tottenham have got knocked out of Champions League and they're all very quiet now. The dust is not settled yet.
No, they're not. They're not quiet. Have you seen that YouTube or that Twitter clip of the Tottenham fan doing a rap and having a go at troops?
I was just trying to watch it as you were talking, but I haven't seen it yet.
No, that was really funny, but it's worth having a little watch that.
Oh, dear.
As I said to Angie yesterday, the women have won more than old Kane has in his lifetime, and it's getting embarrassing for the bloke, man. He's got to leave him. Come to Arsenal. I'd have him, man. Buy him for the Champions League, man.
Yeah, I think if he's going anywhere, he'll probably go Man United. I don't see him making the trip across to us.
Yeah, I can't see him leaving anyway. I don't think he will leave Tottenham, Richard. I think he'll probably stay until his career.
He might do it to get back at Levy, you know what I mean?
I'll get back at Conte.
Yeah, well, he'll be gone by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe Sunday he's gone.
Yeah. Desmond, Fancast says, good work, friends. Good discussion watching from Uganda. And he also reminds us the pronunciation of Kiva is Kiva. I think Kiva.
Yeah.
I call him Jacob because I can't say it, and I've got a little song for him. I'm 6'2", eyes are blue, and Jacob's coming after you. That was the old Willie Young song. I can't say half these names, Alex. I'll just stick to the
the numbers, the songs.
You could give him a song to the Kiora advert.
Yeah, that's true. Kiora, we all adore.
Oh yeah, hey.
That's a good one, actually. Yeah, I like that.
Well, Lynn Simpson's joined the live chat. Says, hi, Alex and guests.
Lynn.
Good evening to you.
Evening, Lynn.
Last night playing Sporting, do you think that we should have played our first 11 to win the game and then make the changes rather than trying to chase the game which we could have lost, Richard? That's like I said.
Yeah, you could have, but we're not in charge, and we've got no recognised striker or number 9, so we're having to make do and manage the squad we've got and manage minutes for players. He could have gone stronger, but I thought he went stronger than I thought he was going to go. He only made 6 changes. I was expecting more changes than that.
Okay. Colin says, yep, that was his statement. Thank you, Alex. If you're going to back him, then that should be expectations. So I want our best available 11 to start every game that involves hardware against the best teams, John. He wants us to go out all out.
Well, as a fan, I think Colin's entitled to his opinion. That's a good point. And if I'm the paying fan, I want to see the best 11 out. Yeah, I totally agree. But that's just not feasible in this day and age. It don't work like that. They don't put their best 11 out every game. He's got to rotate it. If you listen to what he said at the beginning of the season, he said he is going to rotate all them players and all the attackers. But he is a bit of a hypocrite because he ain't rotating Zaka, is he? Do you know what I mean? He ain't getting rotated, obviously. And the other player, Gabriel, doesn't seem to get much of a break. But no, I do agree with Colin. Put your best 11 out as much as you can. But it just don't happen like that. Look at the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, you know. I don't think Arteta underestimated Sporting Lisbon. I just think he put the team out that thought would get a result against them.
Yeah.
They were a good team, Sporting. They're one of the best in Europe. So, you know, I thought it was a good result, personally.
Yeah. Well, Emerson actually says here, a good point, John, on Saka. He should have been rested. And God forbid he does not get injured. That's Emerson saying that.
Yeah, you know, this is a big risk with keep overplaying. Our old Saka now, 21. He's a young man mentally and physically. He needs that rest. You can't keep pushing the bloke. Do you know what I mean? He's going to get burnt out. He ain't going to say no to Arteta. No player's ever going to dare say, you know, actually I need a rest. They would just play till they break. And like Emerson saying, God forbid he does get injured. This is my worry, that he will get injured.
I can see Richard's bursting to get in, but let me just quickly read this one, Richard. Lynn says, if we do win either the PL or EL, then I do believe that the Cronkies will spend big to back Arteta. I tend to agree. I think they're just waiting and see what Arteta is able to accomplish with what he has. And if we do win either of those trophies there, I think then they will back him. They will back him financially. Richard, you wanted to say something, didn't you? I can see you burst in.
I mean, it was just with Colin's comment. I look at Steve Wolfrick, England rugby manager, and he says, I pick the best team for the opponent. And it's not... And he has a squad of players to pick from, and he picks the best players he thinks for the best opponent. And Arteta does that. We have a squad, and he picks a team that he believes will win the match, and is good enough to win the match in front of them. Sometimes that don't work out, but most of the times it has. And he's been pretty good this season on getting the team right and getting the results. So.
Yeah. Before we went live, there was a serious topic that we were talking about. Something about Gary Lineker. Richard, do you want to give your opinion about what appears to have happened on BBC and Gary Lineker?
As I said to you, Alex, he's working for a company that is government funded and is a government mouthpiece, basically. He knew that, but he had the balls to stand up and give his opinion and stand by his opinion. The man has to be applauded for that, and you have to take your hats off to Ian Wright and Alan, because the BBC have removed him. We're not going to take part in this weekend show. Whether they're going to do that until he's reinstated, I don't know. But they've made a stand. They said we're standing with him, and that's good. The BBC are wrong. Everyone is entitled to an opinion, and on such a subject like this, it's people don't risk their lives coming in on boats to this country just to get benefits. They're escaping war, rape, and extremely hard times. You have to be desperate to risk your life coming in a container or on a dinghy to any country. So, and you're saying, "Oh, we're going to be tougher." These people have it tough anyway. You've got to make the system fair, and you've got to make sure these people who are making money off these people, the gangsters and the sex traders and everything, you've got to make it so that those people are getting life sentences, and you make it extremely hard for them to take advantage of these people.
John, did you want to add anything about the situation with BBC, Gary Lineker?
Well, I don't actually know the full story of what about the walkout, right? But if they had backed Lineker, I'd back them. What I will say, without getting into the politics, freedom of speech, whether you like it, what someone said, or you hate what someone said, that is a right in this country to have your say. You know, we might are plenty of things I don't like being said on the telly. That's part of a democracy. Same as Lineker said. They might not like it, some people, what he said. He's entitled to say it. Doesn't matter if he's a celebrity or whatever he is, you know, a player. He's a human being. He's got a right to say what he says, as long as it's not, you know, threatening anyone or discriminating or anything like that, you know. But I put a thing on Twitter today just to say to people, if you don't allow freedom of speech, you're going down a very, very dark route. You're letting the powers that be above us dictate the way our lives are led. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not going to touch on the political thing with the refugees and all that, because it's a complicated thing, and I don't want to get taken out of context.
Yeah.
What, you know, my granddad, he died. He's in Tunisia, fought for freedom of speech, and you know, I think Gary Lineker, he was right to say what he said. Whether I believe it or anyone else believes he was correct in what he said, doesn't matter. But he shouldn't. His freedom of speech should not be taken away. As someone said, he's not a news reporter. You know, he's not a documentary thing. He's just a sports reporter. And I do believe, Percy, that the government have jumped on him on what he said to throw us all, like the general public, away from what is really happening. Let's all get on Gary Lineker's back. While everyone's concentrating on having a go at him, the government are doing other stuff behind our backs. Do you know what I mean? It's a distraction, Alex. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why all of a sudden they all jumping on one of Gary Lineker's tweets? You know, some of it I agree with what he said. Some of it I don't, because the Jewish situation is very complicated. You know, that I wouldn't like to sort of.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to offend either way. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying I'm not going to get into that political thing of like the refugees, like someone is fleeing from war, and you know they deserve all the help they get. There is paymasters out there abusing the system. They probably are a minority. The government has been in power for 13 years. Why ain't this been sorted out? Why ain't them people been sorted out, Alex? Do you know what I mean? You know, that are trafficking human beings. I mean, we all want to watch football. We all enjoy football as a pastime. We don't want to be talking about politics. You know what I mean? I'm quite political, but I don't want to talk about like a break from it all. Do you know what I mean, Alex?
Yeah.
But everyone has got a right to say, even that Sullivan, I don't agree with what she says, but you know, she's got the right to say it. Same as Lineker.
Yeah.
If we start censoring people, where do we stop? Let's not have that film on telly. Let's not have that on telly. Let's not have this. You know, we don't always agree with everyone. That's the way the world works.
Let's not have certain books in libraries.
Huh?
Yeah.
Where does it stop? Where does it end? Do you know what I mean? It's a really dark road to go down. So with the freedom of speech thing, I agree with Lineker. His exact wording, I don't know it. I ain't really. It's all over Twitter. I'm fed up looking about the news.
Yeah.
But I do think he had the right to say it, and it's good that his mates have backed him up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The BBC seems to be a political football now, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's been very, very politicised. Whoever's in power seems to like say, "Oh yeah, we're going to use this for our own agenda." Yeah, it's all wrong, Alex. You know, I don't even watch the mainstream telly much nowadays. It's all watch YouTube. I couldn't even tell you one program that's on the BBC or ITV.
Well, John, as long as you watch Channel 4 TV, that's all we're worried about, mate.
Alex, I'm watching reruns of Brookside, mate. I love it. I love it. But yeah, it's everyone should have their right. You know, even the worst people I could think of have got their right to say it. And not to say that I want them promoting it or anything like that, Alex, but you know, unfortunately, in a free democracy, this is what's got to happen. Yeah. And as she's acting to me, they're acting like a dictatorship. If the Russian government was saying all this, people would be up in arms, Alex. You know, there's no difference. To me, it's all a thing. What I'm saying, right, to bottle it down, they're trying to get all us general public fighting against each other by getting at Lineker and all highlighting all this, you know what I mean? Rather than where they're meant to be concentrating on how they've caused this refugee problem, because, you know, basically a lot of them are coming here because of wars and stuff that have been caused by governments intervening. Do you know what I mean, Alex?
Yeah.
You know, it's all a bit of a blame game, isn't it? They won't take no blame. They'll blame others. And it's another thing, Alex, getting away from the political thing. Now, you know, my daughter is mixed race, my eldest. This thing has a bearing on people like my kids.
Well, it touches all of us, doesn't it?
Yeah, you, Alex, because they whip up a frenzy. Do you know what I mean? They whip people into a frenzy and dehumanize people. And it's like, you know, so it's a really, very, very dangerous line that going down, Alex. I don't like it at all. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying not to be political about it because I ain't no time for any of them at the moment, Alex. None of them. But as a human side, the media is very irresponsible in what they do. And, you know, they're causing problems for people of colour, whatever you want to say, Alex. You know what I mean? These things do cause a hell of a lot of problems for innocent people, British people that are born here.
Anyway.
Sorry to go on.
That's all right. It's okay. It's okay.
It is very important, Alex. You know, and these people, we can get flack for saying it, coming on there and saying it, but I'm saying what I say because I don't care. You know, Alex. That's what I'm saying. I stand by the freedom of speech thing with Linda.
Yeah. Well, anyway, listen. So that is it. Another end to an East talk. And Richard and John, you know, thank you for an interesting and fascinating segment on the Easy Talk. Richard, you know, good to see you back yesterday
nice
on the Thursday Night Football.
Well,
really good. And John Nagiza, thank you for your. We must go for a drink down the pub.
Yeah, we've got to get back down at Gunners, man, isn't it? We've got to get back down at Gunners, Alex, before
Yeah.
That was a great thing. But let's just all enjoy the weekend. I mean, Alex, I don't know about you lot. I don't actually watch the match of the day. I just watch it on the YouTube thing anyway. But
yeah, likewise. Yeah,
it's going to be very interesting to see what happens this week.
It'll probably be Mark Chapman, Danny Murphy, and
Who they going to get on it?
possibly. Yeah.
Get on the
Actually, they might be calling you guys.
I'll bet it now, Alex. I don't think so.
You never know.
But they might get Sula, what's the name on it, and Nigel Farage or someone.
Actually, Richard, what are you
I could get
in London?
Well, why not put Adrian Durham and Jamie O'Hara on it?
Oh my goodness. Anyway, on that note, we're going to end it. We're going to end it. Guys, thank you very much for that. There will be no post-game reaction or even a watch along, I think, for the game against Fulham. And come on, Fulham. I'm divided. Come on, you Gunners. Anyhow, guys, that's it. And this actually has been Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.